Game 1, Wasteland 3, and I want to start with a fact that reframes this whole genre for me. Wasteland came first. The original predates Fallout by years, and when Fallout was born, it was basically the sequel to a Wasteland game the team couldn't get the rights to. So this isn't a game that feels like Fallout to me. It's the thing Fallout was built to feel like in the first place. Wasteland 3 is the modern version, and it's enormous. A tactical, turn-based, post-nuclear RPG set in a frozen Colorado, running on choices that curdle. You lead a squad, you cut deals, and the game keeps handing you decisions with no clean answer. The kind where helping one group means dooming another, and you've got to live with it. That reactive, your choices poisoned the well design is the deepest version of the Fallout feeling I've found anywhere on this list. The humor's right there too. It's bleak and it's funny, in the New Vegas way, full of factions built on genuinely stupid ideas that people are still willing to die for. And you can run the whole thing in co-op, which is a strange and wonderful way to argue with a friend about whether you're going to save the town or rob it. The one wall is that it's turn-based and it's deep, and that turns some people away at the door. But if you want the most Fallout-like set of choices money can buy, this is it. It's not an imitation, it's the source code. Fallout feeling 9 out of 10. Pros: the deepest choice and consequence on the entire list. Genuine New Vegas style dark humor and faction politics. Full co-op so you can share the wasteland with a friend. Literally the franchise Fallout grew out of. Cons: turn-based combat can turn away some players. The isometric view lacks the walk-around, first-person wasteland immersion. Game 2, Metro Exodus. Take the dread of walking into a dark Fallout subway, the part where your heart rate climbs and you start rationing bullets in your head, and build a whole game around only that. That's Metro Exodus. You play Artyom crossing a ruined post-nuclear Russia, moving through a string of large open zones packed with mutated horrors, desperate settlements, and weather that wants you dead. Two things make it feel like Fallout to me, instead of just another shooter. The scarcity's real. You craft your ammo and filters by hand, you feel every resource, and a dark tunnel gets genuinely frightening because you might not have what it takes to get through it. And the choices, quiet as they are, actually land. The game watches how much blood you spill, and the people around you live or die based on the kind of survivor you decide to be. It never announces any of it. You just get the ending you earned. It's not a full RPG. There's no character sheet to speak of, so the build side of Fallout is missing here. But for atmosphere, for that specific feeling of being small and low on supplies, in a world that hates you, nothing on this list touches it. If Fallout's tunnels were always your favorite part, this is where I'd start. Fallout feeling, 7 out of 10. Pros: the best atmosphere and survival dread on the list. Scarcity done right, with ammo and filters you craft by hand. Quiet, moral choices that genuinely change the ending. Cons: it's not a real RPG, with no character sheet or builds. It's more linear and guided than a true open wasteland. Game 3, Kingdom Come: Deliverance. I know how this looks. It's medieval. There's not a laser or a vault in sight. Put the pitchfork down and give me 60 seconds. Everything that makes Fallout feel like a living world to me is here. It's just wearing armor instead of a vault jumpsuit. The world runs without you. Every villager's got a schedule, a job, a bed to go to, and the town keeps living whether you show up or not. You've got to eat and sleep and keep your gear repaired. Your skills improve by actually doing things, so you become a swordsman by swinging a sword and a talker by talking, which is the immersive sim heart of what Bethesda's always been chasing, and the quests hand you real freedom. A simple job spirals into a mess with 3 bad endings and no good one, and how you handle it is genuinely up to you. That systemic depth, the sense that you're a real person inside a world with its own rules instead of a tourist walking a theme park, is the exact thing Fallout fans beg Bethesda for. This is the game that delivers it. Get it? And the sequel that landed in 2025 only sharpened all of it. The catch is patience. It's a hardcore simulation, and the opening's slow on purpose. Push through though, and you get the most complete living world on this list. It feels like Fallout in the way that matters most to me, even though it doesn't look like it for a single second. Fallout feeling 7.5 out of 10. Pros: the most complete living world here, with villager schedules and a real simulation, skill by doing progression that rewards how you actually play, quests with real freedom and no clean, easy endings. Cons: a medieval setting with none of the retro futurist look. A slow, demanding opening that asks for some patience. Game 4, Atomfall. This one's British Fallout, and it isn't shy about it. You're in the green hills and quiet villages of northern England, in an alternate timeline spun out of a real nuclear disaster from 1957. The whole region's sealed off, quarantined, frozen in a retro past that's curdled into something wrong, and the second you start playing, the family resemblance is overwhelming. Look at the checklist. A retro future alternate history where the atomic age went bad. Rival factions, from cults to soldiers to whatever's living in the woods, all wanting different things from you. Scavenging for scarce supplies where every bullet counts. And the part that seals it for me, an open-ended structure with multiple endings where the game flatly refuses to tell you the right answer. There's no glowing quest marker holding your hand. You get leads, rumors, and a map, and you piece the truth together yourself. That's the purest New Vegas design instinct I've seen in years. It even reinvents the monsters you already know. The hostile locals are its raiders, the shambling infected are its feral ghouls. But it's all filtered through this eerie, very British strangeness that makes the game feel fresh instead of borrowed, all quiet menace and tea and things that shouldn't be out there in the countryside. It came out in 2025. It's on every platform, and a huge number of Fallout fans still haven't gotten to it. So if you take one recommendation from this whole video, take this one. It's the closest anyone's come to making a new Fallout without the word Fallout on the box. Fallout feeling 8.5 out of 10. Pros: retro future alternate history that nails the Fallout look and tone. Open-ended with multiple endings and zero hand-holding. Fresh from 2025, and most fans haven't touched it yet. Cons: it's tighter and smaller than a full Bethesda open world. The survival systems can feel a bit sparse and clunky. Game 5, Stalker 2, Heart of Chernobyl. If Metro is the fear, this is the freedom. And the newest entry finally has the scale to show it off. You're in the zone around Chernobyl, an open, hostile, first-person wasteland where you're a scavenger selling salvage to survive. It shares Fallout's bones, rival factions you can play against each other, a world full of anomalies and hazards you've got to learn to read, and a design philosophy that assumes you're smart enough to be dropped in and left alone. It doesn't care whether you're ready. It's Fallout with the safety rails torn off. The magic of the zone, for me, is that it feels alive without you. Other scavengers are out there running their own errands, mutants hunt on their own schedules, and firefights break out whether you show up or not. You're a small thing in a big dangerous place, which is exactly the feeling Fallout's reaching for when it works. Now, to be fair, when it launched in rough shape. Bugs, hard difficulty, systems that don't bother to explain themselves. It asks a lot and gives back slowly, though it's gotten steadily more stable since launch. But if you can meet it halfway, you get the free-roaming scavenge or die wasteland fantasy. This is my hardcore pick, and hardcore Fallout fans will feel right at home. Fallout feeling 7 out of 10. Pros: a huge hostile open wasteland that lives without you. Strong faction play and scavenging systems, free roam scale that nothing else here can match. Cons: it's light on true RPG and dialogue depth. It launched rough, with bugs and punishing difficulty. Game 6, Atom RPG. You're in a Russian isometric RPG set in a post-nuclear Soviet Union, and it isn't so much inspired by Fallout as it's devoted to it. The interface, the turn-based fights, the sprawling skill list, the dialogue trees stuffed with ways to talk yourself out of a knife fight or straight into one. Somebody on that team has played Fallout 2 more times than they've slept, and you can see it in every menu. What makes it more than a copy, for me, is the specific flavor of its world. Soviet collapse humor is its own thing, drier and darker than the American 50s satire Fallout runs on, and Atom leans all the way into it. You'll stumble onto a quest that's genuinely tragic, sitting right next to one that's genuinely stupid, and the game plays both with the same straight face. That balance is hard to fake, and they didn't fake it. The friction's real. This is in-your-face old school. It expects you to read, to fail, to save often, and lose progress anyway. It doesn't hold your hand, and it doesn't want to. But if the phrase turn-based isometric RPG makes you sit up instead of sigh, this is one of the best hidden ones I know. Fallout feeling, 9 out of 10. Pros: the most devoted Fallout 1 and 2 homage in years. Deep dialogue trees and meaningful skill checks. Distinct dark Soviet collapse humor with Trudograd as a follow-up. Cons: old school friction, so expect reading, failing, and saving often. Rough, dated presentation. Game 7, Cyberpunk 2077. On pure Fallout DNA, I think this one belongs, even if the neon throws you off at first. Think about what Night City actually is underneath the lights: a rotten society run by corporations that'd sell your organs for a quarterly bump, a first-person RPG where your background changes how conversations open, skill checks gating whole routes through a mission, builds that turn you into a completely different person, from a hacker who never fires a shot to a lunatic with blades coming out of your arms. Choices that decide who lives, who dies, and which ending you even get to see. Strip the color grade off, and I'm looking at New Vegas with better lighting. The satire runs on the same wavelength too. Corporate advertising that's somehow both hilarious and grim. A world that keeps cracking jokes while it dies. That's pure Fallout comedy to me, just aimed at capitalism instead of the atom. I know the launch was a disaster, I was there. But the version you can play now, after the big overhaul and the expansion, is the game it was always meant to be. If the only thing keeping you away is a bad memory from launch week, let it go. This is the most Fallout-like RPG here that never once tries to look like Fallout. Fallout feeling, 7.5 out of 10. Pros: New Vegas tier RPG systems. With builds, skill check dialogue, and branching choices. Sharp corporate satire on the same wavelength as Fallout. Fully fixed since the big overhaul and the expansion. Cons: it's dystopian, not post-apocalyptic, so the setting is off. Almost everyone has already played it, so there's little discovery value. Game 8, Mutant Year Zero, Road to Eden. This one's a tactical game built on a tabletop RPG set in a post-collapse Sweden, long after people stopped being the main characters. You control a squad picking through the ruins for scrap and answers. The combat's the XCOM style, cover and percentages, and one bad roll ruining your afternoon. But there's a stealth layer up front that lets you thin out a camp quietly before the shooting ever starts. It gets tense in a way Fallout's own combat rarely manages. Your squad is talking animals. A duck with a shotgun and a grudge. A boar in a coat. It sounds like a joke. And the game knows it sounds like a joke, and then it plays the whole thing dead straight and melancholy. That collision of the absurd and the bleak is Fallout down to the bone. It's a world that ended and then got weird about it. Where it comes up short is player freedom. You're not building a character from nothing, you're commanding a fixed cast, so the roleplay's thin. You'll feel like a Fallout fan playing a great tactics game, rather than a Fallout character living a life. But the tone, the scavenging, the mutant wasteland with a sense of humor, all of that earns the spot for me. Fallout feeling, 6.5 out of 10. Pros: tense stealth into tactics combat, an absurd meets bleak tone that's pure Fallout, strong scavenging through a weird ruined world. Cons: a fixed cast, so the roleplay is thin. It's short and light on real player choice. Game 9, Mad Max. This game came out, got a shrug, and vanished, and I think that's a small crime. Mad Max is a scavenger's dream. The whole loop is Fallout's junk economy turned into a religion. Every scrap of metal matters, water's currency, and you spend the game clearing enemy strongholds to make the map a little less hostile, which is the exact satisfaction of taking a Fallout settlement back off the raiders. The Wasteland itself is gorgeous in a way Fallout's rarely manages. All rust and red sky and open horizon. The car is what makes it its own thing. Your vehicle's a character you upgrade and baby and mourn when it takes a beating. and the vehicular combat gives you a flavor of the apocalypse Fallout never bothered to build. Todd Howard should honestly be taking notes for whenever Fallout 5 crawls out of the ground. My honest knock is that it barely qualifies as an RPG. There's no real build and no dialogue tree, so the choice pillar is basically absent. What you get instead is the purest scavenging and survival fantasy on this list, the part of Fallout where you're just out in the dust making do. If that loop's what hooks you, this is a cheap, gorgeous, wildly underplayed way to get it. Fallout feeling, 6 out of 10. Pros: the purest scavenging and survival fantasy on the list. A genuinely gorgeous wasteland. Vehicular combat that Fallout never built. Cons: it's barely an RPG. With no builds and no dialogue tree, there's almost no meaningful choice. Game 10. Skyrim. If this is a surprise, it really shouldn't be. It's the least surprising game here, and I nearly cut it for that. It's the same studio, the same engine lineage, the same design brain that built Fallout 3 and 4. The moment you walk out of that first cave and the whole province opens up in front of you with no arrow telling you where to go, that's the Fallout feeling, wearing a fur cloak. The compass crowded with undiscovered marks, the join every faction structure, the way you get sidetracked for 6 hours because a hole in the ground looked interesting. It's all Fallout with dragons instead of deathclaws. The gap is consequence. Skyrim will happily let you lead every guild at once and never make you choose. Where Fallout would have made you burn a bridge, it's a lighter, friendlier take on the formula. If you never played it, or you bounced off it years ago, the 2025 Oblivion remaster is sitting right there too, and it scratches a very similar itch in a warmer, weirder world. Either one hands you the Bethesda exploration loop that Fallout itself runs on. This is comfort food, and comfort food earns its place. Fallout feeling, 7 out of 10. Pros: the same Bethesda exploration loop and engine DNA as Fallout 3 and 4. Endless factions and things to discover. The 2025 Oblivion remaster as an easy alternative. Cons: a fantasy setting with no retro futurism. Consequences are light, since you can do just about everything. Game 11, Encased. I want to close on the one almost nobody watching has touched. Encased is a small studio's attempt to rebuild classic Fallout from the frame up. Isometric camera, turn-based combat, a stat system that's clearly saluting special without quite getting sued over it. You play a worker who signs up to explore a giant alien dome in an alternate 1970s, and then, as these things go, the world ends while you're still inside it. What it gets right is the part most modern games skip. Your build actually locks you out of things. Dump everything into muscle and whole conversations close in your face. Skill checks fail, and the failure means something. That's the old Fallout contract, the one where the game respects your character sheet enough to punish it. I'll be straight about the rough edges. The budget shows, and the writing doesn't always land the joke. But if you've been chasing the feeling of Fallout 1 and 2 specifically, the ones with the top-down view and the dark little choices, this is the closest thing to a modern one I've found. Fallout feeling, 8 out of 10. Pros: it rebuilds classic Fallout systems faithfully. Your builds genuinely lock you out of content. Skill check failures that actually matter. Cons: rough, low-budget presentation. The writing doesn't always land the joke. That's all. Have a great day. Bye.